In this video, I'm going to give you the perfect Janicki training split. I put a lot of thought into this. If I had to do one training split for the rest of my life with these exercises and these rep ranges, this is what I would do. I'm not probably gonna hit every single rep range, but I would have probably put in a Google Doc so it's a little more organized for you guys with some other notes as well. So I'm really excited about this video. I hope you guys get a lot of value out of it. I had a lot of fun creating this workout program. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's go over the general structure for the week. So what we're going to have is a modified PPL. We are going to have a push, pull, legs, rest, mixed upper, legs 2, and then rest 2. The reason I love this split is we get 2 evenly split rest days. We get a ton of stimulus. We get to hit everything twice a week. We get a dedicated push and pull day at the beginning of the week, and then following that up by a dedicated leg day. We get a rest, and we get that nice mixed upper day. The mixed upper day is probably one of my favorite days of the week. If not my favorite, I would say not my favorite just because legs is always my favorite. A lot of that's due to my new torque gear, which I'll go over in this video as well. Let's get into day number 1, which is going to be our pull workout. Number 1 is going to stand on this. It's going to be a unilateral cable pull down using my torque handle. And the reason I love this movement so much is it's going to open up your back. It's going to split you in half. It's going to give you an immense amount of stimulus in your lower lats specifically. And this is where so many of you guys have imbalance. It's really hard to build good lats. The guys that you see with great lats are usually more experienced bodybuilders in their 30s because they train the hell out of their upper back thinking they're training their lats, and then they stepped back and actually learned how to train their lats effectively. And this is literally something that happened to me. If you look at my photos throughout the years, my upper back has always been pretty crazy, but recently I've really started to build out my lats, and this movement pattern is one of the main reasons for this. Number 2, I would have a chest supported row. Anything for upper back, I think chest support is going to be better because you can really turtle shell over that pad, drag out with elbows, and get as much upper back stimulus as possible. We want to track elbows a little higher on these instead of down and in, and that's going to hit more rear delts, rhomboids, and low traps, which is going to give you that really nice upper back dense look. Next, we have a pullover. I would highly suggest a bench supported pullover with some sort of fixed grip. And what I mean by that is instead of having a rope or something that can move, I would have like a V handle or something that I can be locked in here. I used to do these really flared out. One thing I've done is start to really tuck the elbows and then just drag it in. We don't want to change elbow angle at all. And this is another great lat isolation exercise. Obviously, this is not going to be a compound because we're going to be locked in at that elbow joint. And so it's a single joint at that shoulder, responsible for shoulder reduction. It's going to target the lats extremely acutely. Do not ego lift on this one, guys. You definitely can load it, but insofar as you can keep this form and not turn it into a pull down. So many people I see do these, they'll start here and then as they come in, they'll bend the elbow and turn it into a row. We want to keep that elbow angle stagnant throughout the rep. Next, we have a bench supported rope low row. So I'm going to want to strap in on these, and you can use, again, the torque handles. What we're going to do is use an incline bench. We're going to reach over it, and then we're going to drag as low as we can into that hip pocket without lifting the chest up. So we don't want to be pulling like this. We want to keep that angle, and all we want to do is use that elbow to drive into the back pocket of our pants. It's great. It's got tremendous stability. I know you have to drag a bench run, but it really is worth it. I mean, guys, we put so much into our physiques. To spend an extra 20 seconds dragging a bench is not the biggest deal in the world. If that's your biggest issue, you're probably not trying hard enough. Next, we have a preacher or machine curl. So now we're getting into the biceps towards the end of the workout. I love a preacher curl or a machine curl. If you ever got a good one, it's going to lock our elbow into place. It's going to allow us to drive just acute stimulus into the bicep. Easy to progressively overload, very minimal setup and just like mental effort. You just have to train really hard on this one and make sure you stay safe. Don't kill yourself. Don't be the guy that busted both of his biceps on the preacher curl. Shout out to you. I hope you're fully recovered. That was brutal. The last exercise of the day, we have a bench supported cable curl facing out. So we're going to have both handles behind us. We're going to keep the elbows back, and we're just going to drag those palms out while keeping the elbows back. This is such a tremendous exercise for biceps because it puts them on an island. It puts you in this really nice format where when you get back and stretch, there's very little you can help yourself with. And because it's that direct line, you can't really take over with front delts. As long as you keep your elbows back, S+++ tier exercise. All right, now we're getting into day 2. This is going to be our push focus day. And this one, we are going to get very, very refined with. You're going to be surprised with our first exercise. It's not a barbell bench press. It's not a heavy press. It is going to be our mid-chest supported cable fly. So we're going to have a bench at about this angle. We're going to put the cables low, and we want to think elbows here, and then we want to push forward as we fall back into the bench. I have a ton of videos describing perfect fly form, so I'm not going to inundate you with that right now, but we're going to go 2 hard working sets there. And if I have not mentioned it, I go 2 hard working sets on almost every exercise. I do not count a like small warm-up set, but once I get through my first exercise, realistically, I'm going right into hard working sets of any subsequent exercise, because I don't need to waste glycogen and effort with a weight that's not a working weight just to then limit myself from driving top end force on those top 2 sets. So if you're doing 4 sets, first 2 sets are like lead-in sets, you're probably just detracting from your ability to drive top force on those top 2 working sets. And so I would highly suggest do not waste sets, guys. Hit your 2 hard sets. If you were to come and train with me, you'd see why I only hit 2 sets, because if I did more, I'd probably be in the ground. So then we have an upper chest bench supported cable fly. So we're going to take that same setup. We're going to put the bench now up higher to about a 70 or 80 degree angle. We're going to set the cables all the way up at the bottom. And then instead of thinking here, we're going to go with that format that hits upper chest perfectly. We're going to start down here and come right across and get right into upper chest here. Again, one of my favorite chest exercises. I think it's for upper chest, S tier. I would say it's even better than an incline press, even though I don't think you should eliminate an incline press from your whole protocol. Which takes me to an incline Smith machine press. If you do have a good machine or plate loaded press, I'm not opposed to it. I just wanted this to be universal for most people to utilize. So I'm going to do a Smith machine incline press. Again, cueing elbows tucked, shoulders down and back, and then driving through here, not all the way locking out, never pushing our shoulders forward. Again, I've got a great video on this, so go check out my page. Then we've got the infamous decline dumbbell fly. I know this looked performative, but this is literally one of my favorite chest movements because you're at a decline. It allows you to really open up the chest in a unique way that you can on a flat or incline fly. You get to basically pull back and then reach and then scoop through. And I'm telling you, the stimulus is crazy. It's a little bit of a technical exercise, but once you get it down, it is absolutely immense. Next, we have an incline bench tricep push down. Instead of just doing a regular tricep push down, I love the incline bench format. You're going to get more bracing. That vector force is coming from behind you. It's going to get heaviest right where you want it to. This is something you guys see in my content ad nauseum, but I think it's a no-brainer over a standing tricep push down. If you're short on time or you want just like a different variety, staying tricep push down is fine, but as you get stronger, your limiter might be your core strength or balance when you're really trying to overload this. Next is going to be JM presses. I think this is a perfect substitute. A lot of times when you're doing school crushers, it's just so much pressure on the elbow joint. You get the happy medium of a close grip press with that kind of overhead extension. You get right here, you get nice and deep and you push out. I think it's a perfect happy medium and you reduce a lot of that shearing force on the elbow joint. Trust me guys, this is also an S tier exercise. Lastly, we have a line cable lateral. Again, another bench rolling around. I know it's a lot of work, but being jacked is work. So might as well roll a bench around if we're going to get probably the best lateral delta exercise on the planet. Also, you can follow some of the top guys in the industry, hypertrophy coach. They will agree with me. Get cuffs, lie back, or your torque handles, which also double as cuffs. And you're going to lie back. You're going to get wide, open the chest, and you're going to drive out here and then up. And it is terrific. So that's going to round out that workout for push day. Obviously, I like to put the smaller muscle groups towards the end of the workout. So I used to kind of do a thing where I'd intersperse them, but now I just put the shoulder and triceps at the end of the workout. I think that works the best for me and for most people. Which takes us into leg day number 1, my favorite day of the week. I look forward to it every week. It is going to be led with our torque hack squat. And every movement that I put the torque wedge on is now torque plus whatever that movement is. So we got the torque hack squat. So we're going to put the torque wedge 20 degrees at the bottom of our hack squat. We're going to also put a foam roller behind the upper back or a half roll, and we're going to shift the torso angle slightly forward. And this is going to be the best hack squat you've ever felt in your life. The most crazy amount of stimulus. The moment arm gets crazy long, it gets really heavy, and you're going to get that knee over toe format, but it's also going to take all the pressure off your knees, oddly enough, and also all the pressure out of your lower back and hips. So try it out. I go 2 really hard working sets between 7 and 10 reps, which moves us right into the torque leg press, which is not a torque leg press, but we're going to put our torque wedge on the leg press press, same thing, low foot placement. I love this movement pattern as well. I do recommend you keep the feet nice and tight and the knees in line. What I tell people, if you want to really build big quads, you're going to want to keep everything nice in line. Which I mean by that is ankle joint, knee, and hip all in line so that we can get through that lateral head of the quad or the sweep, and then also a rec fem towards the top kind of meaty part of the quad, which is going to give you that nice rounded look to your leg. Think Urs Kalasinski. He's got great sweeps, and if you see him train, he trains very much like that. And I'm not saying that his training is solely responsible. It's a lot of genetics and how your muscle inserts. But if you go look at photos back of me, like a few years ago, I had a very flat sweep, and now my sweep, not great, but it's so much better than it was, and I think it's a testament to the training itself. Then we got the Torque Quad Extension, which has my Torque quad. It's funny, but it's so true. I literally train with all my products now. I can't do without it. So sticking the Torque Quad Extension pad on the quad extension, which is going to shift our knees up and forward, and also knee over hip, which is going to provide more torque. It's going to get all the way up through rec fem and all the way up damn near our hip when it comes to the stimulus, as opposed to just like hitting more like teardrop and that kind of like lower quad. So this is something I set up. You want to really pull yourself down through the seat, drive almost queuing forward instead of straight up to the ceiling. And this is, I mean, you could probably grow your legs substantially just spamming like 8 hard working sets a week of this, split over like 3 days. I think you would definitely get quad growth for sure. I kind of want to do a test on it, but I also love my leg training too much to do that. So anyway, we are then going to move on to our stretch bias seated hamstring curls. So instead of just setting up back on our hamstring curls, we're going to like see how you've done them before, either hugging or pulling ourselves forward, get that better stretch and better leverage. We can pull our torso angle forward. You're going to take a lot of that pressure out of the lower back and provide more torque and stretch, where we've proven time and time again, hamstrings grow really, really well out of stretch. So really a no-brainer here to set up your seated hamstring curl like this. Next, we have a deficit RDL. You can use a Smith machine, you can use a dumbbell, you can use a barbell. I like barbell. I really like the feeling of that freedom. Also, Smith machines, usually are just ass and they finish off like their bottom range of motions like a foot and a half off the floor. It's like, who designed these fucking machines? I don't get it. I really don't. But anyway, I would recommend a deficit. You use the torque wedge and turn it into a box and create a deficit with that. Or you could just use a regular box. But this is an amazing stimulus. Really make sure to kick hips back, almost tuck pelvis, and you want to drag right down your shins as deep as you get. And you don't want to come all the way up. You don't want to hyperextend. You want to just drag that bar up right up to about mid to upper quad. And then that's the end of your rep and you're right back down into it. Last, we've got our calf myo, which is basically 5 cluster sets. You don't need to have a ton of rest for calves, I don't believe. I do heavier weight, either standing or seated calf. I think it's still a terrific exercise. So you can do standing or seated, basically 5 hard sets. I take the first one at failure. Usually that ends up around like 8 to 12 reps. Take about a 15-second rest. Next one's probably like 7 reps. Another 15-second rest. Next one's like 5 reps. And then probably like 4 and then 4 kind of thing. And that is get it done in like 4.5 minutes, probably 4 minutes. In and out, and really focus on the stretch portion of the rep. Get up and get a good nice drive and a squeeze. If you're getting loading it heavy, really be careful with dumping it down in a stretch. Use that nice controlled eccentric. All right, then we come to our first rest day. On your rest days, I want you guys to get outside, get some steps, have some fun, enjoy time with friends and family, or just relax. Like, you don't need to be going to the gym and doing some abs on your rest day. Take it as a true rest day. We are now into day number 4, which is going to be our mixed upper, which I absolutely love. You hit everything kind of with a couple or maybe 2 to 4 hard working sets. So let's hop into it. We have a flat or decline stretch bias machine press. So you can, if you've got a good plate loaded press, pin loaded press, you've got something, a half roller or roller to put behind your back, really reach back and then drive through. I think this is a tremendous exercise. Most of you guys will have at least a half decent machine press or plate loaded press. Add that range of motion to it. Really focus on dropping shoulders down and back instead of pushing through. Think pushing yourself almost as you're like, almost like you're falling into whatever bench you're using. Great initial stimulus. 1, maybe half warm up set. Boom, right into 2 hard working sets. Next, we have our seated stretch row. So we're going to use a lap bar. We are going to set ourselves on a second bench or just really far back on the seated row. You can use something to anchor your feet, whether it's dumbbells, something else to get that bracing. And then we're going to just get those super deep stretch rows and then just drag right into the hip pocket. This is one of my favorite, like almost therapeutic exercises. You feel like your whole body open up and stretch, and then don't sit up and lean back on it. You just want to find that pocket. And this is probably your finishing angle. So you're down here and then you're right into here. here. These are just such an immensely effective exercise. Next, we have an incline dumbbell press or machine press. I just want to make this as applicable for everybody as possible. I like an incline dumbbell press. Allows me to really get outside of my frame, tuck elbows, reach back, almost kiss those dumbbells to my front delts, and then drive out, keeping the shoulders back. This one kind of speaks for itself. Then we're going to do our unilateral row. Instead of from a high position this time, as in our pull day, we're going to be low position. We're going to really set ourselves on that incline bench from a low position, and we're just going to drag that elbow in. We're not going to rotate too much on these guys. We want to really just focus on reaching. You can lean forward, but we don't want to rotate here. Lean forward and then dragging that elbow in. 2 hard working sets there. Then we got our incline bench Y raises for delts. You could just do, if you want to do the flat raises with the cuffs, again, such an S tier exercise, probably very similar. I do like this variant just to target it slightly differently. We're going to be an incline, very steep incline, cuffed here again, and more into a Y format, which is also going to get a little bit of rear delts as well. But also, if you want to just use the flat variant, totally okay. Then we have weighted dips. I know this is kind of like a curveball. A lot of you guys maybe think I wouldn't do dips, especially weighted dips. If you can't do really good, super deep bodyweight dips, or even like assisted dips, start there. If you guys are doing dips like this to this depth with weights, I'd rather see you sinking these and then dragging out with just body weight or even assistance, and then working your way up to weighted dips. And then to round us out, we've got incline dumbbell curls. You don't have to do the crazy like Janicki variant where I like put my hips up and go almost horizontal to the ground. You can just do it on an incline bench. These are a terrific isolation exercise for the biceps and a great way to finish off that mixed upper day. Which takes us into lower number 2, which honestly is also a day I look forward to a lot, which is Saturday for me. And this is going to be led with some sort of squat pattern. This could be a belt squat, a barbell squat, a Smith squat on some sort of heel elevation, ideally the torque wedge, but you guys can make your decisions there. I would say this is a really, really good way to open up the workout because you're the freshest, squat patterns are not easy, and it allows you to drive a lot of top end stimulus into almost every major part of your leg, upper leg at least. So you got your adductors, your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, all heavily involved in this movement pattern. And if you can get away with it, if you have a belt squat and you can reduce that pressure on your spine, that's always probably going to be your best call. Again, if you like to load up the bar, toss on your back, I'm not against it at all. Now we have the dumbbell bar supported RDL. So you can set up either on a Smith bar or a rack, and you push your upper quads, like mid quad, into the bar and kind of have your feet underneath the bar. So that way you can kind of wrap over it and it takes all the pressure out of your lower back. You get super deep stretch, obviously doing these at a deficit. And then you're only going to, again, drag about 2/3 of the way up the quad and then right back into that next rep. These are probably one of my favorite hamstring exercises that takes all the pressure out of the lower back, and it's just like literally sore for days. I know soreness is not indicative of growth, but I feel like they definitely light me up, especially in the hamstrings. All right, then everybody's favorite, a Smith Machine Bulgarian deficit split squat. Again, SS plus tier exercise. When you get it right, you can shift the knee over toe, get super deep reps. You open up your hip flexors, you open up your whole physique. It's a very athletic movement. You're gonna get quads, you're gonna get glutes, you're gonna get adductors. You could argue a tiny bit of hamstrings. I wouldn't count on it to get hamstring growth for this, but it's very, very heavily quad and glute dominant. If you can do it right, you get to split the body in half. You don't get as much loading on your spine as a barbell squat, and I think it's literally a terrific movement. Then we have a stretch bias lying hamstring curl, so you can just use a rolled up yoga mat or those kind of thicker kind of foam blocks or those foam pads you use for like yoga. You put those underneath your quads. You can get a lot more stretch at the bottom of your lying hamstring curl. It also shifts your kind of hips up, so instead of being here and then you kind of the impetus gets a lot of times put on your lower back, shifts your hips up, you get more stretch, and then you get to drag out and get a lot more emphasis on the hamstrings, and it takes it a lot out of the lower back. And then of course we got the torque quad extensions. So we're back with the torque pad, toss on the quad extensions. I think getting 4 super hard working sets of quad extensions is such a terrific idea because it's a super high stimulus, low fatigue profile, and you can get a ton of growth from it. And last, we're going to just go right back into our 5 sets of calf myos. You can do seated, standing. You don't even have to do a myo sets. You can just do 3 hard working sets if that's your preference. It's probably going to be splitting hairs at that point. So, but that is my 5-day perfect split, which is going to take us also into rest day number 2. So biggest takeaways, regardless of whatever training split you're doing, execution is going to be key. Just because I'm giving you this workout split, if you followed it to the T, but you're not training hard, you're not training with good form, it's probably not going to give you very good results. Number 2, just because I say this is a optimal training split, if you're training 4 or 3 days a week super freaking hard, you're still going to make progress. It's really more about getting the stimulus, and yes, Well, I feel like if you can train 5 days and touch everything twice during the week, but if you do a full body split 3 days a week and you touch all your muscle groups once to twice and you train really hard, you're probably also going to be making a shit ton of progress. So don't always get in your head that, oh, if I can't hit 5 days, then Eric says I'm not really going to make progress. Number 3 is you don't need 4 to 5 working sets of an exercise. Really start to focus on how much you're getting out of each set and really locking into that and thinking about how much intentionality you're putting in each set. And you don't need 5 sets. You're probably just wasting time, you're wasting effort, you're wasting CNS, and you're taking away from the amount of recovery you can have after the session. And the last thing I will say, guys, is really think about recovery as well. I know a lot of times we get really into the nitty gritty with the training stuff, rep schemes, which I will include, working sets, rep schemes. I'll also include the tempos for these. So if you guys don't understand tempo charting, you can look that up, but I'll probably chart it as like 4-1-1-1, which would mean 4 second eccentric, always leads with eccentric, then pause and stretch for 1. 1 would be a 1 second concentric, and I usually do a 0, which is 0 seconds, like in a squeeze phase or contracted phase of a movement pattern. So I'll have my videographer Phil include that in the description so you guys have access to it. Also, if you guys want coaching, I'll put the link for my coaching application in that same Google Doc. But I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next video.